Hello students. Good morning all of you. Once again a warm welcome to the Computer Networks online session. Today video number 25, which is the starting of unit number 4. With the last video we successfully completed unit number 3, that is data link layer. So that up to now we covered 3 units. The first one is introduction to networks, the second one is physical layer, third one is the data link layer. So total 3 units we cover. So from this video onwards, we will start unit number 4, that is the medium access control sublayer, the MAC sublayer. So why it is called it as a sublayer? Because as we already mentioned, data link layer is consisting of two parts. The first one is LLC, logical link control. The second one is medium access control, MAC. So there are total 7 layers what we have to be discussed in the OSI reference model. In that 7 layers, data link layer is the third one. Second one. The first one is physical layer. We already discussed about the physical layer in the unit number 2, how the physical connection establishments are done. So what is meant by guided transmission media and what is meant by unguided transmission media, that what we covered there in the unit number 2. So there in the unit number 3, we completely discussed about data link layer and its protocols and what are the major design issues of data link layer. There are total 4 design issues are there. One is which provides services to the network and framing, and the third one is error control, and fourth one is the flow control. That's what we covered there in the data link layer in the unit number 3. So when we are discussing about the data link layer, we discussed that data link layer is the two parts. The two parts are LLC, logical link control, and MAC, medium access control. Logical link control and medium access control. So that's why it accessing services from the physical layer and it provides services to the network layer. So the responsibility of data link layer is it accessing the services from the physical layer and it provides services to the network layer. Right. So here in this unit, so unit number 4, we completely discuss about the medium access control sublayer, which belongs to the data link layer. So this is the syllabus what we have to discuss in this unit. The medium access control sublayer, medium access control sublayer. Here we will discuss the channel allocation problem, what is meant by static channel, and the assumption for dynamic channels. So what is meant by channel, how the channel allocate, what is the channel allocation problem, and static channel and dynamic channel, and the multiple access protocols. Here we will discuss Aloha, carrier sense multiple access protocols, and collision free protocols, and limited contention protocols, and next wireless LAN protocols, and Ethernet classic and Ethernet physical layer, and classical Ethernet, and MAC sublayer protocols, and Ethernet performance, and fast Ethernet, and gigabit Ethernet, and 10 gigabit Ethernet, and retrospective on Ethernet, wireless LANs, and the 802.11 architecture and protocol stack of 802.11 physical layer and the 802.11 MAC sublayer. So if you observe this, again we will divide this unit into two parts. One belongs to the channel related. So what is meant by static channel and what is meant by dynamic channel, how the multiple access protocols by accessing the channels, that what we will discuss in the part number 1. In the second part, we will discuss the wireless LAN protocols and Ethernet 802.11, its architecture and its performance and its protocols and supply discussions. That what we will discuss in the second part. So this is the unit number 4, the medium access control sublayer, simply called it as a MAC sublayer. So the channel allocation problem. There are two channel allocation problems are there. First one is static channel allocation in LANs and MANs. I think you guys know about LAN and MAN. What is the difference between LAN and MAN? That what we discussed in the unit number 1. So LAN, MAN, WAN concepts we covered there in the unit number 1. So local area network, metropolitan area networks, local area networks and the metropolitan area networks. So static channel allocation in LANs, local area networks and metropolitan area networks, and dynamic channel allocation in local area networks and metropolitan area networks. So these are the channel allocation problems in the MAC. Static channel allocation in LANs and MANs, dynamic channel allocation in LANs and MANs. Now, dynamic channel allocation in LANs and MANs. The first concept is dynamic channel allocation in local area networks and metropolitan area networks. The first one is station model. The second one is single channel assumption. The third one is collision assumption. And the fourth one, again, it is divided into two: continuous time and the slotted time. Continuous time and the slotted time. And the fifth one is very important one: carrier sense and no carrier sense. So these are the 5 dynamic channel allocations in local area networks and metropolitan area networks. Once again, I am repeating. The first one is station model. Second one is single channel assumption. Third one is collision assumption. Fourth one is subdivided into two. One is continuous time. Second one is slotted time. Again, the fifth one is again subdivided into two. One is carrier sense and second one is no carrier sense. That is dynamic channel allocation. So the first one is multiple access protocols. What are the different multiple access protocols? The first one is Aloha. Second one is carrier sense multiple access protocols, collision free protocols, limited contention protocols, wavelength division multiple access protocols, and wireless LAN protocols. So up to this is that what we discussed is the first part in the unit number 4, right? So chapter 4, the medium access control sublayer. There we will discuss these concepts in this unit. In that, up to wireless LAN protocols, we will divide it into a first part rather than Ethernet concepts and 802.11 Ethernet cables that we will discuss in the second part of this unit number 4. So the channel allocation problems: static channel, dynamic channel. There are two type of channels are there: static channel and the dynamic channel. So for the dynamic channel, so these are the 5 cases. And for multiple access protocols, what are the topics we will discuss in the multiple access? Multiple access, as the name suggests, multiple access. If multiple users are accessing the same path, how the path will be utilized by the both the users. So for that purpose, we will learn these concepts here in the multiple access protocols. So what we have to learn in the multiple access protocols in the MAC is, the first one is Aloha, very important one. Aloha we will discuss, and carrier sense multiple access protocols and collision free protocols, limited contention protocols, wavelength division multiple access protocols, and wireless LAN protocols. The first one is the pure Aloha. So generally in the previous unit, in the data link layer, when we are in the discussing about the data link layer, there we discussed one point, that is how the data has to be transmitted from one location to the another location. So here the data has to be transmitted from one location to the another location in the way of frames and packets. In the way of frames and packets. So how the frame is formed, what is meant by bit stuffing and character stuffing. So how we have to be control the errors, error control, and how that he means how the data link layer controls the errors, and how the data link layer controls the flow of that particular data packets. That what we discussed there in the unit number 3. So error control, flow control, framing, and as well as the main design issue of data link layer is which provides services to the network layer, which provides services to the network layer. So what type of service it provides to the network layer? The main responsibility of data link layer is it accessing the data packets from the sender side, it accessing the data packets from the sender side and transmitting the data packets to the network layer at the receiver side, network layer at the receiver side. So the network layer, data link layer, physical layer, all layers are available at the both the sender side and receiver side, both the sender side and receiver side. So the main responsibility of data link layer here is the first design issue of is it provides services to the network layer. How it provides services to the network layer is it accessing data packets from the network layer of sender side and transmitting the data packets to the network layer at the receiver side. In that it transmitting, it accessing the data packets and converting to the valid frame format again to the raw bits to the frames to the packet. It will be happened that what we discussed, what happened that in the unit number 3. So why I will recall the topic here is, so how the multiple channel allocation is done. So in the pure aloha, here in the pure aloha, so these are the users, multiple users, user A, B, C, D, E. These are the different data frames sent by different users. User A sends data packet A1, A2. User B sent the data packet B1. C sent the data packet C1, C2, C3. And D1, D2, D3, D4 of user D. And E1, E2, E3, E4 by the user E. So there, whenever we are discussing in the data link layer, so the data frames has to be transmitted from sender side to the receiver side. If any collision will be occurred, if any packet loss will be occurred, how we have to be resend that particular packets, and how the noisy disturbances are created. So which type of protocols we have to be using for the noisy channel and noiseless channel, that what we covered there in the data link layer, right? Whenever we are transmitting a data frame from the one location to the another location, that means sender to the receiver or from the source to the destination. So different issues we have to cover, that is error control, flow control, error detection, error correction, error detection, error correction, flow control and the error control. When coming to the pure aloha, so why we have to discuss pure aloha? So this is one of the protocol related to multiple access. Multiple access. If one channel is accessed by multiple users at a time, one channel is accessed by multiple users at a time. One channel is accessed by multiple users at a time. That is medium access control. Medium access control. How the medium is accessed by the different users and how it will be controlled. So how the dynamic channel allocation in LANs and MANs. So multiple access protocols in that aloha. The first one is pure aloha. Here multiple users are there. Multiple users are transmitting n number of packets here. Packets are frames. N number of frames transmitted by different users. So in pure aloha, frames are transmitted at completely arbitrary time. So for example, the first packet is this. C sends packet C1 at 9 a.m. At 9:05 a.m. D1, 9:10 D2, 9:15 D2, 9:10 E1, 9:20 E2, 9:25 C1. Let us assume. So 9:25 C1. Without complete transmission of C1, here A sends its data packet, that is A1. So the random amount of time. So there is no certain time slots. So when the data frame is ready, the user immediately transmitting the data frame. Here the C1 is ready first. So C sends the data frame first when compared with all the data users. So there are total 5 users are there. Among the 5 users, the first C1 sends the data frame. Next D1. The C sends data frame, next D, next E. So whenever the A's data frame is ready, on that time immediately A sends that particular data frame. When the B's data frame is ready, on that particular time B sends the particular, there is a frames are transmitted at completely arbitrary times. There is no time period, there is no time slots, so they can use the channel whenever its data frame or data packet is ready. So for example, at 9:26, the data packet of A is ready. So immediately A sends that particular data packet. But on that particular time, C's data packet is traveling in that particular channel. So that's why there in the pure aloha, what happened there is the users transmitted, that means send. The users send their data frames immediately when the data frame is ready. So when the data frame is forming, after the forming of data frame, the user immediately send that particular data frame to the via using that particular channel. So he released that particular data frame to the frame in the channel. So that is the pure aloha. So I think you guys understand what happened here. So if multiple users are there, multiple users are using same channel, whenever they are transmitting data packets is, when the data packet is ready, immediately they are sending that particular data packets to the channel, right? That is pure aloha. So but what happened there in the pure aloha is, I think you guys already understood what happened is, a collision may be occurred. A collision here, collision occurred between B and A. Here collision occurred between A and C, because A doesn't know about already C's data packet is traveling in that particular channel. Here, so D sends D3, C sends C2. C doesn't know already D3 is traveled in same time complexity in that particular channel. So that is the problem happened there in pure aloha. A collision will be occurred here in the pure aloha. So the analysis of pure aloha. So how we have to analyze the pure aloha is, the TF is the frame time. TF is the frame time. Processing, transmission, propagation. Processing, transmission, and propagation. So that is TF, the frame time. So initiating of frame, transmitting of frame, and delivering of frame is called it, that is processing, transmission, and propagation, that is frame time, TF. And next one is S, the average number of successful transmissions for TF. The average number of successful transmissions for TF, that is the throughput or efficiency. So here the S is the average number of successful transmissions. Average number of successful transmissions. Transmission means if a frame delivered successfully, then that is the TF. So processing, transmission, and propagation. If frame ready, transmitted, delivered, that is called TF. If how many TFs are successfully transmitted, average number of successfully transmissions per TF, that is the throughput or the efficiency of the channel, that is called S here. That is called S here. And next one is the G. So G means the average number of total frames transmitted per TF. The average number of total frames transmitted per TF. So on the D means average delay between the time a packet is ready for transmission and the completion of successful transmission. So G is the average number of total frames transmitted per second. Average number of total frames. Here S means average number of successful transmissions. Average number of successful transmissions. G means average number of total frames. So what is the difference between S and G? So here so many frames here, but only some frames are delivered successfully. Why? Because the remaining are collide each other and destroyed. Remaining are collide each other and destroyed. That means here two terms. S is for average number of successful transmissions and G is for average number of total frames transmitted. G is average number of total frames transmitted, and the D is the average delay between the time a packet, and D is average delay between the time a packet is ready for transmission and the completion of successful transmission. So D is the average delay between the time a packet is ready for transmission and the completion of a successful transmission. So we will make the following assumptions here. We will make the following assumptions here. So the assumptions are all frames are of constant length. All frames are of constant length. And the second assumption is the channel is noise free. The second one is the channel is noise free. So every frame feels here, whenever delivering a data frame, the user feels the channel is empty, the channel is free. So channel is noise free. The errors are only due to collisions. The errors are only due to collisions. And next one is the next assumption is frames do not queue at individual stations. Frames do not queue at individual stations, and the channel acts as a poison processor. So these are the four assumptions we will make. So what we will make is, the first one is all frames are at constant length, but actually the frames are not at the constant length. One frame size is 3, one frame size is 4, and one frame size is 7, and one frame size is 8. Depending upon the data, what we have to be, what the user wants to send, what the user wants to send. So some users wants to send, some user wants to send a 6-bit data, some users wants to send 8 characters data, some user wants to send 4 character data. Depending what amount of data we have, to be transmitted, depending upon the frame size is allocated, the frame size is created. So depending upon the frame size, so we have to be make necessary actions. But what we assume here is every frame are of constant length. The length may be 4 or 6. So every frame of size of 4. But in reality, actually, so every frame is not in the same constant length, right? And the next one, the channel is noise free. So actually every channel is not noise free. In between there is a possibility of errors occurred. But here what we assumption is the channel is noise free. So the errors are only due to collisions. The errors are due to collisions, and the frames do not queue at individual stations. Yeah, the third assumption is frames do not queue at individual stations. And the fourth assumption is the channel acts as a poison process. So since S represents the number of good or successive transmissions, that's what we discussed here. The S average number of successful transmissions. The S represents the number of good or successive transmissions per frame time, and G represents average number of total numbers attempted transmission per frame time. Then we have S is equals to G into probability of good transmission. So S is equals to G star. Right? S is successful transmitted frames. G is total started frames. So whatever the frames delivered from the sender, that is called G. Whatever the frames received by the receiver is called the S. Simply in our language, the successful delivered frames are called it as S, and the starting delivered frames from the sender is called G. So pure aloha. So here what happened? So vulnerable time. So analysis of pure aloha. So for pure aloha protocol, so here A sends data frame, B sends data frame, and C sends data frame. This is the beginning of A's data frame. This is the end of A's data frame. This is the beginning of B's data frame. This is the end of B's data frame. This is the beginning of C's data frame. This is the end of C's data frame. So here A's end collides with C's beginning. Why? Because what we feel is the channel is empty, there is no collision, there is no destroys, but actual is here already B is delivered, then A is delivered, next C is delivered. So randomly whenever the frame is ready, the A, B, C are immediately transmitted that frame. But what happened here is the A's end is collide with C's beginning, and B's end collide with A's beginning. C's end is collide with A's beginning. So the vulnerable time is equals to 2 into TFR. 2 into TFR. Why? Because there are two collisions are occurred here. 2 into TFR. So I think you guys know TF. TF is frame time. TFR. So T plus TFR, T minus TFR. So in this way, we will calculate the vulnerable time 2 into TFR. So the probability of having k arrivals during a time interval of length t is given by pk of t, that is lambda t power k e power minus lambda t by k, that is where lambda is the arrival rate. Lambda is the arrival rate. For pure aloha, the probability of successful transmission is e power minus 2g, and the expected number of transmissions are e power 2g. The successful transmissions is e power minus 2g, and the expected number of transmissions is e power 2g. So the throughput for pure aloha is S is equals to g into e power minus 2g. Please note it down. The throughput for pure aloha is S is equals to, S means successful transmission of data frames. So G means average number of frames delivered from the sender. So that means the total number of frames delivered from the sender, and whatever the frames received by the receiver is the S. So S is equals to G into e power minus 2g. So S max is equals to G power 0.184 when G is equals to 1 by 2. The Aloha protocol is an example for unstable protocol. So the unstable protocol. So here is the throughput for pure Aloha is noted down. The throughput for pure Aloha is S is equals to G into e power minus 2g, and the maximum throughput S max is equals to 0.184 when G is equals to 1 by 2. So the throughput for slotted aloha is S is equals to G into e power minus G. The maximum throughput is S max is equals to 0.368 when G is equals to 1. That we will discuss in next class. Slotted aloha. So in this class, what we covered is the pure aloha and the introduction part of medium access control. So unit number 4, medium access control. In that medium access control, we will cover these topics. In that, the first one is channel allocation problem. Here the static channel allocation in LANs and MANs, and dynamic channel allocation in LANs and MANs. In dynamic channel allocation in LANs and MANs, these are the different 5 cases. In that 5, the multiple access protocols are these 5. So 6, Aloha, CSMA, carrier sense multiple access, collision free protocols, limited contention protocols, wavelength division multiple access, and wireless LAN protocols. So that is in first we covered the pure Aloha concept here in this video. I hope you guys understand what happened there in the pure Aloha. To overcome pure Aloha concept, they implemented slotted Aloha. So we will discuss about the slotted Aloha in the next lesson. Thank you very much.